Another and somewhat more manageable of the SPQR scenarios. This one's the Battle of Dertosa. Comes out of C3I magazine, an old one from 1994, it looks like. This is, again, published for free on GMT's website now, which is kind of useful to me because I happen to have the counters that go with it. Turns out, when I looked at War Elephant, which is an expansion I have, it seems like the counters come from there. So there's a pretty good chance that you have the counters if you have the expansions that I have. It doesn't look like they're required from the magazine itself. Hard to tell for sure. Anyway, the situation here, we're in Spain. The two Scipio brothers are both here in sort of a joint proconsulship. We have Gnaeus and Publius. And at this point, Hasdrubal has been... Yeah, Hasdrubal's been sent orders to advance into Italy. Cannae has happened already, Trebia, etc. And the feeling of the Carthaginian Senate was, hey, we could reinforce Hannibal there and probably win this war here. Well, this is a situation where in northern Spain, the Scipios end up placing their army, which is actually somewhat larger, I think. It looks pretty potent, in front of Hasdrubal's army, force him to a battle. Hasdrubal's plan here is the same as at Cannae. It's this double envelopment, and unfortunately here, at least for him, it didn't work as expected. He didn't have this, although his infantry was perhaps on parity with the Roman infantry, or closer, he didn't have the overwhelming power of the cav. But he set himself up with the heaviest stuff, his phalanxes, on the flanks, kind of this weaker Iberian infantry in the center, prepared to give way. And he's got this thin line of skirmishers, Balearic slingers in the front, and then two cav units. Now, one is mainly Iberian lancers, which aren't bad, but they're nothing great, and some of the sacred band, supposedly Libyans and Carthaginians mixed together to give a little bit more punch to that side. Now, on the other side, we have the Numenidian cav, and we've seen what that can do, and it's scary powerful. It's not the kind of thing you blast through the enemy with necessarily, but with its missile firing capability and its high morale, it's pretty much unstoppable unless you really misuse it, I think. Facing them, well, the Romans have a kind of interesting army here. Unlike the usual one regular legionary cohort and one ally cohort, here they actually, or double that or whatever, here they actually have that along with an extra ally cohort, and then they have double that, which is a little more than a normal consular army would be. It's split between the two leaders. They're each an overall commander for this battlefield, but an overall commander only of their command, as it were. Just kind of a funky idea. And kind of the normal assortment of Roman leaders in charge of various places here. And they're not very good. The Carthaginian leaders are definitely better than the average Roman leader here, but there's more of the Roman leaders, and we've seen what that's done before. I had to look up the rules of the Roman leaders because they have more restrictions, and I forgot those in, the time since I played an actual Roman scenario. The Roman cav, they have all the ally cav over here, and the base Roman cav along with some Celtic lancers, which are essentially the same as the Iberians. Now, something seems really weird to me with the way the setup is. I had to kind of scrunch it around to make it more balanced. I think it's not. There may have been some typos in it, but also the Triari line is this kind of broken thing, and that strikes me as very weird. Most of the scenarios have clumped it together to allow it to act as something unified, if it gets down to that. This looks like a definite weakness if it doesn't. But, you know, I guess we'll get a look at how this kind of smaller battle, using the same Kanai map sheet, but using the same tactics as Kanai as well, will turn out. Historically, this was a major, major defeat for Hasdrubal. And he wasn't able to reinforce. All right. So to open things up, the Velites come charging forward, and they just, you know, scatter this the slingers. They're all running, basically. There's no matchup there. They're just a speed bump. Okay, so the main Roman advance on this first turn is complete. They've moved up almost all the lines. The Triari is still back here. We've got a couple of cohorts that I think the scenario instructions screw you up as to where they are, which is why they're ahead there, or behind there. They'll be able to be moved up by the army leader, but that's kind of weird. The Cavs moved up here. On this side, we see the Lancers came forward and dispatched one of the slingers. Now it's the chance for the Carthaginians to react, because now their leaders at initiative 4 move after all of the other, pretty much all of the main line of the Roman leaders, other than the couple named leaders in the back. Those named leaders will go kind of interspersed with the best of the Carthaginian leaders, with Hasdrubal ending up at the end. But I think there's only 1-5 initiative Carthaginian leader, so it's going to kind of one Roman, the Carthaginian, then the other Roman, then Hasdrubal. But before that happens, we got 2 4-ranked leaders, which are the weakest of the Carthaginian leaders for this. It looks like a tough task. I know that breaking these Roman formations is really, really difficult, and this army just doesn't look capable of it. We'll see. Now the 2 wing commanders have moved for the Carthaginians, moving the elephants and maybe some cav in the case of the left wing here. Now, one of the elephants slammed into this double unit of Legion. I didn't deploy it. Kind of said, "Ah, darn, that's a horrible thing." Turned out that was a good move. The losses are distributed if they're not deployed. So, had it not been that case, because the elephant took a lot of damage coming in, had it not been the case that they were distributed like that, the elephant would have routed one of the legionary units and survived. As it was, though, it wasn't able to rout the 2 together, or either of them actually, and it ended up routing, thereby going onto a rampage with no real effect. The other one chased away some of the cav, and we had the cav attacking that Lancer, that allied unit that's with the Romans that kind of charged out ahead. Over here, the elephant scared away the cav. Another one slammed into Velite, destroyed it. Meanwhile, Hanno wandered around trying to rally some of those slingers. So effect. We can see he rallied a couple, but he also killed a few. And now we're going to be back onto one of the 2 Roman commanders, and then we start alternating. And right after that, I moved Publius Scipio up. He got two momentums, or 2 actions, was rolling for his 3rd momentum, or his 3rd action. Rallied some units and moved things forward, but on his last momentum, die roll of doom situation, i.e. he rolled a 9 and then rolled, I believe it's another 9. Triggered this. I can never remember, 9s and 0s are different. 0 and 1, yeah, 0 and 1 allows you to reactivate. 9 ends the turn, which overall is to the Romans' advantage. Although they didn't get to move their 1 commander, he didn't really have anything to do. Whereas the Carthaginians didn't get to do anything with Hasdrubal. and they didn't get to do anything with their Numidian cav, which I'd say is a pretty significant effect. Their cav is what they're planning on kind of winning the battle with, these two wings, and they didn't get to activate one of them. Guess we can go over and take a look at the losses. I've counted them up. Skirmishers and elephants only cost 2 each. So that's a total of 10 points that Carthage lost. They have 110 for their route number. Rome has a big 188, which, you know, right there you can see. You have a bigger number because you have a bigger army, and you're going to cause more casualties because you have a bigger army. I don't buy that this is a terribly balanced scenario. That's they claim it's fairly balanced. I just don't accept it. I think that the Romans have a huge advantage here between their tactical superiority in the infantry, which the majority of the Carthaginian forces are infantry, and the cavalry is just not that overwhelming from what I can see. The Carthaginians have slightly better cav with the elephants included in there, although they already lost an elephant. It's pretty easy to do. I just don't think that we're going to see the kind of... We're certainly not going to see Cannae, but I don't think we're going to see much in terms of a chance for the Carthaginians from what I've seen of the game. I may just not know how to handle them well in the face of a Roman legion. There's no question, for example, with the skirmishers, instead of standing, if I had more space in front of my army, I would have felt no real reason to stand there. I would have fallen back and then charged forward to do harassing tactics and back and forward and back. I don't have that kind of space, though, and it just seems better to clear them out of the way because they're really not going to do much in a tightly constrained area. I would much rather have like 6 or 7 hexes between the skirmishers and my main line. Nothing's ever set up that way, though. All right, I'm going to load this one up, and we'll catch the next turn.